Your preference between Messi and Ronaldo can say a lot about who you are as a person. Die Hard Ronaldo fans hate Messi fans, and Die Hard Messi fans find Ronaldo fans deplorable. For example, Messi fans are always down the hill that Messi's a more complete footballer in terms of ability and accomplishments. I mean, they be ironically repping the "Where's your Bugatti?" with saying where the hell Ronaldo's World Cup is. Ronaldo fans will ensure that Messi fans know that he's a superior human compared to Messi. He's got more money, he's got more followers, better girlfriend, he's tall, he's attractive, Messi's short, he's ugly, whatever, you've heard it all. We've all been exposed to at least one of each type of fan. In this case, these players both have a psychology in which determines their personal characteristics and who they are on the pitch. For example, Messi is the classic example of an introvert, or like the quiet guy. He's short, he's average looking. Most of the features that you notice about him aren't those type of features that are directly seen type of thing. Like he doesn't stand out aside from when you see him dribbling with the ball. Instead, he's more like a conservative, laid back type of dude. When describing his teammates and his performances, he kind of shows a lot more humility and compassion towards them, often trying to put those teammates before himself. Messi without football would be one of those guys at parties that isn't concerned with being the center of the fun. Just like he would just have his closest homies with him, his drinks, and sometimes text his shorty like, "Yo, I kinda miss you. This party's lame." Them type of niggas. Ronaldo, on the other hand, is that charismatic and extroverted type of guy that wants all the attention and actually harnesses all the attention sometimes, even if he's not trying to. Ronaldo's decently tall and pretty attractive, almost like a model type archetype. Ronaldo makes things happen and isn't shy to make note of the contributions and impacts that he makes on the football pitch and in the real world. So Ronaldo's that type of guy who is the focal point at the party, the guy that all the girls want, and the guy that all the guys are trying to be. But they just can't hit that type of aura, they can't hit that type of, I don't know, like he's just that nigga. Anyways, in this case, this results in there being two types of viewers. Two types of viewers in terms of how do these people relate with their preference and their opinion on who's the GOAT, and what does it say about them. But we'll get to the how it says something about them later on in the video. For now, we understand that there's two types of viewers. There are relate watchers, right? Relate watchers are ones that watch and love one of the goat that they prefer due to similarity and down to personal preference. These watchers tend to be rigid in opinion. They usually revel in the opposite's demise. This is that type of person that would die to protect the image of their preferred GOAT, whilst completely going to extreme lengths to diminish or discredit the other GOAT, because the success and wins of the other GOAT diminish the GOAT that they prefer. Their failures and successes are contingent upon their own feelings and emotions. When they win, they are happy. When they lose, they are upset. A prime example of this is the condescending. Okay. A prime example of this is the condescending poor Ronaldo video of that Moroccan chick when she made it after the 22 World Cup quarterfinals, when Portugal got knocked out by Morocco, when she pulled off the poor Ronaldo. So on God, gang, like, that video genuinely generated more death threats than any other video in the history of social media. That was like witness to something never seen in media history. Ronaldo fans genuinely, the fury, bro, the rage that it sparked up was definitely insane. But We also see this when respective fans reject the other for winning by means of a penalty, or if a societally deplorable moral factor of either GOAT is revealed in a press conference or during player dialogue. This type of watcher goes through what is called projective idealization, where all your unacknowledged positive traits, potential, and possessions are attributed to an external person, and that external person therefore acts as a proxy self. Relate watchers therefore embody this psychological mechanism and tend to be quite rigid to appreciating the opposite archetype. And in this sense, for example, a Messi fan would be resistant to acknowledging Ronaldo as an equally admirable player or person. These fans can come across as more obsessed with the player on a personal level than on a football level. This can go as far as the respective fans being more of Ronaldo haters than Messi fans and vice versa. For example, don't crucify me, Ronaldo fans, but when Messi won the 2022 World Cup, the name Messi became so notoriously attached to Messi in the sense that Argentina were noted to not even deserve the title and rather won the competition at the penalty spot. One fan base cannot experience joy without the other devaluing the ways and methods in which a player has reached their successes. This is what is then referred to as projective identification, where unacknowledged flaws, faults, and deficiencies are attributed to an external figure to avoid self-criticism. Then the other watcher that you can see within any fan base is the eye test type of watcher. This watcher watches purely out of love for the game. They're flexible in opinion, they respect and sympathize in both GOATs. This type of viewer isn't concerned with what they are viewing. This type of viewer isn't concerned with the wins or faults of either type of GOAT. They actually engage with the player for who they are, athletes, and not their personal characteristics. This is the person that can appreciate Messi's mazy runs and dribbles while also admiring Ronaldo's goal threat once the ball reaches the opposition's 35-yard territory. They are passive in identification but active in immersion. This distinction isn't necessarily to make one type of viewer better than the other, but rather to note the differences in why the debate seems much more personal to some while just being a fun game to others. In my personal opinion, this whole phenomenon teaches us something very applicable to our own lives. This dynamic teaches us that attaching to what you want and or makes you rigid to who and what you could become, because anything that contradicts what you want or are will be rejected. And in this case, Ronaldo fans will hate Messi fans because Messi is a direct representation of what Ronaldo isn't, while also Messi fans will hate Ronaldo fans and Ronaldo because Ronaldo is a direct representation of what Messi isn't, while also glazing Messi because they see themselves in him and exactly what they want to become is idealized onto Messi as a figure above themselves, when in truth Messi kind of acts as themselves in a way, which is very woo-woo, but yeah, it makes sense. However, rather you, okay, this dynamic teaches us also that allowing yourself to be free of labels, criticism, and judgment then allows yourself to be open to change and reform, and then to appreciate all aspects of your life, the good ones and the bad ones. Attaching to an identity versus creating an environment that is conducive to change. The former method of identification is rigid to who you are. You don't want to be and want to be, while the latter is more open to constructive criticism, interpretation, and varying perspectives. My suggestion involves knowing who you are and accepting it, whilst also knowing that who you are is subject to change and reform, and being someone that can change can significantly signify freedom instead of a lack of control. And that is why, even though I am a Messi fan, I can still sit and respect Ronaldo while still being a relate type of watcher, because I do relate and find a lot of similarities in myself onto Messi. And there have been cases where I have cried and literally broke down when he lost. As also far as when Ronaldo loses, it may give me feel like that is a win for me, which is crazy, because that essentially meant that in that case, whatever in myself that I did not choose to accept was then evident in Ronaldo's losing, and that made a part of me feel good, which is kind of weird, because why would you like to see a part of yourself lose? But it is because you have rejected that part of yourself, and when they lose and it's making you happy, it kind of reinforces that rejection that you have made. So that's why I'm saying a bit of both is kind of needed, where you do identify with who you like, because it can kind of give you an in into what you want to be and who you want, and you can kind of use them as a role model and less as an idolization, and rather take from the eye test that you don't have to identify so far to the point that you cannot change at all, that you cannot become something different, that you, if needed, cannot be criticized constructively, where you can take a step back and say, okay, maybe my methods of being this way aren't working for me, and a different approach is needed, a different perspective, a different way of living as a whole. That wraps up my first video as whatever this is going to be. I don't even have a name yet. Whatever name you see, that's a new name. Please comment whatever goat you prefer, and whether you agree or disagree with whatever takes I've made in this video. Subscribe. Bro, this shit sounds so weird, but yeah, just do all that YouTube shit, gang, like, please. And then, yeah, bro, check you on the next one.